Kams audio son. You burn the swine when no want you shine. The tree of life, them no want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Kams I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money never, money never, money never, money not know what you can even money. Money never, money never, money you can keep, you can even money. When you've been a corrupt in a bill, there be money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill, there be money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money never, money never, money never, money now know what you conniving money. Neighbor joker, neighbor joker, neighbor joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a guilda piece. A 2 pound note and a guilda piece. A 2 pound note and a guilda piece. That's all the money that me walk for. I said money never, money never, money never, money now know what you can even money. Oh, Joseph.
Well, I invoke the WP people. You have to make it.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in the Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Kams Tv, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. people. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Rickford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow Port People Governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Wyndham Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Today,
Kams audio son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Kams I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, read that.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money never,
Money never, money, money never, money, money. Now know what you can even money.
money never,
Money never, money, money never, money, money. You can keep, you can even money. When you've been a corrupt in a been tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a been tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money.
yes, money never,
Money never, money, money never, money, money. Now know what you can even money. Never joke, never joke, never joke.
Money.
It's all the money that me walk.
Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time.
A 2 pound note and I kill that piece. A 2 pound note and I kill that piece. This is all the money that me
Live from
walk.
Buxton.
money never,
Money
How have you been?
never,
How
money.
was your night? How was your yesterday? How you expect it tomorrow gonna be? You think it's gonna be any easier than it is today? If you want it to be easier, you know what you gotta do? Fight. Unless you are prepared to fight for something, you're not likely to get anything. And so you gotta be prepared to fight. Keep that in mind. Welcome to the program. It is now 7 hours 30 on the 4th day of the 4th month in the year 2023. That's the 4th of April 2023. Welcome to the program. I hope you've had a good yesterday. I hope you succeeded in whatever your endeavors were. 72 hours at the hands of the PPP. Right? I also hope that you are re-energized, you are reinvigorated to carry this struggle against the government, against the ruling party, against a cabal of thieves and criminals that are bent on dividing this nation and stealing its wealth. I sincerely hope that you have renewed your energy and you've renewed your determination that, you know, they must go. Let this image always be in your minds. That's the image. That is what the PPP represents to African Guyanese. That is what the PPP represents to the ordinary man and woman in this country. In 2023, they shackled a man who has simply spoken up against the ills of the government. A man who simply chose to stand on the side of the oppressed and fight alongside the oppressed for their freedom, their right to justice and fair play in the society in which they live. A society which their forebears, their ancestors built. That is what the PPP represents. Those shackled feet there you see, they are the feet of TACUMA OGUNSEYE, the political prisoner of the PPP. But while they are the feet of TACUMA OGUNSEYE, they represent the society of the oppressed. The PPP's aim is to instill fear and to coerce people into silence. And so these images must not leave our minds. They must remind us at what the PPP is about. It's pushing towards a new form of enslavement, especially for Afro-Guyanese in this society. And we will not have it. We will not stand for it. Like I said, the Working People's Alliance has always been fighting on the side of the oppressed. when the Indo-Guyanese declared in the 70s and 80s that they were being oppressed by the Forbes-Burnham government, the Working People's Alliance was right there. They fought alongside Indo-Guyanese and the PPP to rid this country of a government that they considered oppressive in the form of Forbes-Burnham and the PNC. But they didn't call us racist then. But now the boots are on the other foot. And so Afro-Guyanese are claiming, justifiably so, that they are being oppressed by the PPP government. The same PPP that WPA fought alongside. Same PPP that WPA fought alongside to bring relief to the Indo-Guyanese population in this country because they claimed that they were being oppressed. It's the same PPP that has turned around and are the oppressors right now. And they're oppressing the Afro-Guyanese. And when the WPA fights alongside the Afro-Guyanese, like it fought alongside the Indo-Guyanese, we are being labeled racist. We are being labeled racist. Well, the likes of Singh and Prasad and all of those who believe that we are racist, your accusations will not deter us. We will continue to fight alongside the oppressed. And if it is your interpretation that we come here and we preach racism every day, yes, we preach racism every day because racism is what the citizens are living. If the citizens are living under government that is racist and continues to perpetuate racism every single day, that is what the citizens will reflect on. They say children will live what they learn or learn what they live. And if your children are seeing abuse every day, it is abuse they will respond to. And so the WPA is responding to racism. And this, we are not, this is not the boy who cried wolf. The evidence is right out there. I'm going to show you, for example, this morning. Let's talk about evidence. Right, let's talk about evidence. They like to say, show us the evidence. Well, here is just one exhibit of what racism looks like. And how it is engendered, how it is supported by the PPP cabal. How it is supported by the PPP cabal. And it also proves that the Guyana police force is nothing but a political arm of the PPP. Because it only acts when it gets political instructions. Right?
And the fucking next thing is, police now against fucking police. There is the next thing. The fucking police, them all look like a fucking thief.
This is
racism. Black man just like fucking jump out. You have fucking Matty Black man, kill a Matty Black man. Your mother's gonna get fucking sense. Eh? The fucking man down there in Ghana. Oh, mother's gonna is the policeman. You gotta look for. Kill the police out. No fucking cool people do you not. Is the old Matty Black man shoot a Matty Black man. And your mother's gonna get from fucking racist now, eh? And your mother's gonna dotage bad black man. And your mother's gonna get sense. Like I can never go fucking go school. I need to go fucking school. And your mother's gonna dotage bad. I never see fucking black man so yet. Eh, burning fucking burning up fucking people vehicle. But hey, black people and pies and your mother's gonna out keep a party. And fucking make sure you invite all your mothers for all the black man in this country. Cook and get your mother's gun fit and show pies in your fucking food and get you dead out of your mother's gun. After I can't get no fucking sense, black man. Me said I am known as fucking Gaza up on TikTok. I kill all your mother's cunt out if I get the fucking chance to kill black man. I shoot all of your mother's cunt out.
That's racism right there for you. Right? That's racism right there for you. But guess what? The Guyana political force
and
doesn't
the fucking next thing is, police now against fucking police. Here's the next thing. The fucking police, them all look like a fucking thief. Yeah, black man just like fucking jump out his yeah, fucking matty black man, kill like a matty black man. Your mother's gonna get fucking sense, eh? The fucking man down there in Ghana. Oh, mother.
Let me stick a pen and draw something to your attention which perhaps you might have overlooked. In this recording, Gaza, or Imran, what he calls himself, says, even the black police, them just look like thief. Even the black police, them just look like thief. What, is Imran alone guilty in saying this? No. The leadership of the PPP also says this. It was Jagdeo who said, while they were in opposition, that members of the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Defense Force will kick down the doors of Indo-Guyanese and rape their children and steal their assets. Y'all remember that? That is racism. That is racism. Targeted at even the professionals of the Guyana, of the coercive arms of the state. The very professionals that Jagdeo and his cohorts at the PPP turn to and manipulate to mash up the ordinary Guyanese rights in this society. Because they use them to intimidate people and to drive fear into people. And to rob people of their rights to protest, their rights to march, their rights to free speech. So like I said earlier, children live what they learn. And vice versa. So Imran is only continuing the message of racism from his leaders, Jagdeo and the likes.
Scott is the policeman, you gotta look for. Kill the police out. No fucking cool the people do you not. Is the old matty black man shoot a matty black man. I mother's gonna come from fucking racist now, eh? I mother's gonna dotage bad black man. And I mother's gonna get sent. Like I can never fucking go to school. I need to go fucking school. I mother's gonna dotage bad. I never see fucking black man so yet. Burning fucking burning up fucking people vehicle. But hey, black people and pies in your mother's country out keep a party. And fucking make sure invite all of your mother's country, all the black man in this country. Cook and get your mother's country and show pies in your fucking food and get you dead out of your mother's country. After that kind of get no fucking sense, black man. Me said I am known as fucking Gaza up on TikTok. I kill all your mother's cunt out if I get the fucking chance to kill black man. I shoot all of your mother's cunt out.
Who was attempting to excite discord among the races with those utterances? Who was attempting to excite
President Ali, good morning to
discord
you. I'm here currently now.
among the races when Ali said that the members of the coercive arms of the state gonna kick down doors of Indo-Guyanese and rape their children and steal their assets? Who? And there's several of such videos that are on the World Wide Web, that are on social media, of a lot of these things being said, but we are not seeing the Guyana Police Force visit any of these people. Have we? You know the funny thing is, and I always laugh at it, when the truth hits the airwaves from Kams TV, they knock us off. When the truth hits the airwaves from Kams TV, the only answer they have is to disrupt the signal and affect the viewers. How much longer you think they can get you? How much longer you think they will get through? Change takes time. Change takes time. And we will endure this because we are working on change. Right? We will endure it because as long as Kams TV hits the chord, as long as Kams TV brings truth and facts, that's what they do. They jam the signal, they knock off the viewers. But we are not afraid, we are not going to be intimidated. We will continue to work and bring the facts, bring the truth. The evidence is right there for the world to see. That was one of the most blatantly racist statements made under the PPP government, along with those spewed by Barry Jagdeo. But they have not taken any action, have they? They have not shackled Imran. To interview him about the allegations of corruption made by Sue. But TACUMA OGUNSEYE said, and it was reported speech, a white diplomat told me XYZ. And let the police and the army turn their guns in the right direction. But TACUMA OGUNSEYE is guilty of exciting racial discord, or inciting racial discord, or an attempt to incite racial discord. Here's a threat by Imran to poison and shoot African Guyanese. There were the utterances of Jagdeo that malign an entire population of people in the Guyana Defense Force and Police Force. But the very police force did not see it fit to visit any of those Indo-Guyanese. But our black brother TACUMA OGUNSEYE could be shackled. Who's this and what is bothering you? For exercising his right to free speech. How may I help you, caller? Well, I didn't warm up the lines, but you want to be on now? Okay. Okay. There's a caller who wants to be on now, so go ahead, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning, Mr. OGUNSEYE. Thank you very much. Stay strong. Mr. Kadaki, that tape is a dangerous tape. That tape is an incitement to create genocide of a certain group of people. Why is it the Guyana Police Force, the Army, the Human Rights Body, United Nations, the ambassadors, the representatives, why are they not condemning that thing? Why don't we see Mr. Imran before the court? Why is he not being charged as of today? Mr. Norton, the 5 parliamentarians, why are they not being on the airwaves condemning the speech, calling for the arrest of Mr. Imran for incitement to create genocide of a particular group of people? Why are we not seeing that as of today? This speech was made over 2 months ago. Why is he not being charged? This is a clear violation of the Incitement or the Racial Hostility Act. Mr. Norton and the opposition members ought to take stock of what's going on and must take a stand, because we all know, the Guyanese population know, that indeed the opposition was and is in agreement. It is no way possible that they, because of some memo, that they're sitting back and allowing this nonsense to take place in Guyana. It has to be that they sign some agreement with EXXON, because they don't want disturbance in Guyana. They must explain that to their supporters, because it's no way possible. The APNU, before the APNU, PNC, whatever you want to call it, they would never sit back and allow this shit to happen. It's no way possible. It has to be an agreement. Guyanese must be on the alert, because they're planning to have the local government elections. You know why? Because the contract that was signed with EXXON, it is up for review, and it is reviewed every 2 years, which the contract can be changed. The APNU knows this. WPA should be an alert on this. Every 2 years, the contract is for 20 years. Was signed in 2016, and every 2 years, it's up for review. The APNU must come out and condemn this shit. Absolutely. Disrupt everything. Because this can't happen. It is blatant violation of human rights. Every day. Every damn day. You can't agree not to protest, and your people are being mashed up. It can't work. It shouldn't work.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So no wanted bulletin was issued for Imran for these racist utterances. Right? You know who no wanted bulletin was also issued for? The man who is alleged to have spearheaded, masterminded they call it, the murder of paper shirts. Did you ever see a wanted bulletin issued for the man or the suspects in the murder of paper shirts? No wanted bulletin was issued. And so it is clear that the Guyana police force is not serving and protecting the citizens of this country. They're serving and protecting friends of the PPP and the PPP. So you have a rogue Guyana police force, you have a rogue government. Who will bail the cat? Who will bail the cat? The citizens have to bail the cat. I see Randy Singh said free speech has limits or responsibilities. So to sexual intercourse, Randy. And if your mother were to take time to respect those responsibilities, we would not have had a lagu babu like you on this program to tell us that the PPP is doing what is right. Call all the line.
Good morning, sir.
Call all the line. So Randy Singh.
Yes, I remember.
We hope.
Yes, I remember this is the month of Ramadan.
Call all the line. Randy Singh. If your mother was responsible enough, we would have not had to put up and deal with you this morning. And if the Guyana police force behaves responsibly, we would not have had to deal with the PPP criminal cabal. Because like I said, they would have been referees and they would have refereed fairly. But so long as you can drink from the corrupt cup of the PPP, everything that the PPP does is well and proper in your sight. The ordinary man and woman know quite differently. The ordinary man and woman know quite differently. The WPA, the members of the WPA, the leaders of the WPA know quite differently, and we are prepared to stand and fight alongside the oppressed in this society, regardless of who labels us racist. You want to talk about racism? Step across to GECOM. Step across to GECOM and you will find out that if you're not Indo-Guyanese or you're not ascertained to be a PPP supporter, you can't be employed at GECOM. You want to know what racism is? When the top candidate for the DCEO, Deputy Chief Elections Officer, turns out to be a black woman, I think her name is Marshall, and Roy had the temerity to suggest to her that her promotion at GECOM through the years were because of sexual favors. That is racism. In other words, in the eyes of Roy, that crab dog, black people can't ascend, black people can't be promoted, black people can't achieve unless they sell themselves cheap in any which way or shape. That is racism. You want to know what is racism? Check photographs displayed by the Ministry of Public Works recently when they said they had contractors meeting. And see if you can find a black man, an African Guyanese, among all the contractors that were receiving big contracts in this country. That's looking for a needle in a haystack. And when the society, the population of the society is not so skewed as you see in a world of contracts and so on, then you know that something is wrong, something discriminatory is taking place. And that thing is fueled by racism being perpetuated and perpetrated by the PPP. when unqualified people are being plucked out of classrooms. To be made senior education officials ahead of those African Guyanese who were working in the Ministry of Education in those positions and who were entitled to promotions. That is racism. Racism is being perpetrated by the PPP. The only thing the WPA is doing is highlighting it. That's the only thing the Working People's Alliance is doing, highlighting where the evidence of racism could be found in the society. You know what else is racist? Nigel Hughes alluded to it in a presentation he done months ago. But it's even worse now. The few African Guyanese who had license to export gold from this country are now licenseless. Since the PPP came to power, they have not granted them renewal of their export license to gold. Who are the people controlling the export license to gold? A man wanted by the United States. Cannot have their export licenses renewed simply because they are African Guyanese. You know who got license to, you know who else got license to export? The Mohammeds. The Mohammeds. But if you're black like me, not even in color but in thinking, or the texture of your hair, if you're Afro-Guyanese, or they suspect you to be Afro-Guyanese, or they suspect you to be supportive of the AP and UFC, or the coalition, the opposition, whatever you want to call it, you dare not get a fair and equal opportunity in this country. That is apartheid. That is racism.
Forget me in the month of Ramadan, bye.
And therefore,
they finished making Silent Dam, Buxton Silent Dam.
where's that?
They finished doing Buxton Silent Dam. You can't drive in them and you can't bottom crazy out.
You gotta tell Ali them that.
Both black and Indian living in the and both we use it, both races using the place to come out.
You got to tell Ali that.
The road for donkey years ago, the road never met.
I don't have a responsibility of fixing roads, do I?
No, just asking you, I mean, you from that side, they did anything on the road, they created?
No, the road has not been touched.
Okay, well, I can't come in back and therefore bring in passengers because the road can't bottom grades, you know.
Meanwhile, all the roads in Annandale are being fixed or have been fixed.
I know, that road are massive. That road you're talking about massive there.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you so much, bye.
Those are the things which we must address. Those are the things that Randy Singh and his mother must sit down and talk about. Because if he doesn't know, his mother has a responsibility to teach him. And don't let him come here and talk crap every morning. You want to talk about racism? Racism is when the government can send money to an NDC and say it must only be spent in Indo-Guyanese communities. Despite the fact that there are several, as a matter of fact, majority Afro-Guyanese communities make up the NDC. Let me just take a pen and address both what the scholars said and what Troy Boyce is saying now. Sideline Dam has always been rough and rugged. I dare say to you that I have never known Sideline Dam, well, not never known. I did not know Sideline Dam to be in the state it is currently under the coalition government. It was deteriorating. But it was never in this state of deterioration. And I'm saying it for the benefit of people because I've said it before. I personally spoke with David Patterson of the Ministry of Public, Infrastructure at that time, public infrastructure, about having this section of the Sideline Dam fixed. You know what he said to me? As soon as elections finish, it's going to do. Number one. Before the elections, he said to me the warrants were already signed for the construction of Buxton Sideline Dam north of the public road. The warrants were already signed. It means that the project was already approved. The PPP went into office and they disregard all of them. Remember, they said that once they got back into office, no contract signed by the AP and UFC at the time would have been honored. And they lived to their word. And so Sideline Dam is in the state it is in because of the wicked and vindictive approach to governance by the PPP. Even if the PPP had a problem with AP and UFC as a government, why should the people be made to pay the price for that problem that they have with the government? Did they reverse projects in the Indo-Guyanese communities when they got into office, when they were installed? Projects that were approved by the APNU government, did they reverse them? Go and check the records, and then let's talk about racism. Let's talk about racism. You want to talk about racism? Wasn't my intention this morning, but we're going to talk about racism. When the people at Peters Hall and Providence, is a street separate Peters Hall from Providence, a street or a road, whatever you want to call it. And when the people at Providence were predominantly Indo-Guyanese said to the PPP government, we will not move from here for any bridge pass, they left them alone. They left them alone. But just on the northern side of the very road, they said to more than 20 households, y'all got to move. And y'all got by the end of April to move. That is racism. Because Peters Hall is predominantly Afro-Guyanese. And of those 21 households, I think that have to be moved, they got one Indo-Guyanese in between. But if they were to move the people over from Peters Hall, Providence, majority Indo-Guyanese would have been affected. That is racism. The recommendation of the impact study that was done in relation to that bridge, that New Demerara Harbor Bridge, recommended that the bridge land at Houston because the impact on households would have been minimal. I think there were two businesses there that would have been affected. Pratipal Singh and I think it's Gafoor's or somebody else has a business there that would have been affected. They would not have been put out of business. Maybe the sizes of their compounds would have been reduced. But they are Indo-Guyanese. And they are Indo-Guyanese businessmen who support the wicked and corrupt, vindictive and racist PPP. So they left them alone and they went to harass black people at Peters Hall. That is racism. David Amsterdam asked me if my mother taught me. My mother taught me well, David. She taught me well. I am a fluent speaker to start with. She taught me well. With all of the allegations and accusations that Randy Singh and the likes come here and say, make against me, Mr. Amsterdam, Kidaki, you're racist. Go into my environment in all of the realms of life where I've interacted with people. Get one Indo guy needs to point to me and say, Kidaki, you're racist. Because you treated me unfairly, whether as a classmate or as a workmate or as a student of yours. My mother taught me humanity. It is that humanity that has me fighting on the side of the oppressed. Where is your humanity, Randy Singh or David Amsterdam, quite frankly? Where is your humanity? When you can't deal with the message, you attack the messenger. Fix Cyrus is here to say Kiskadi related to Shrek. Jack Dio is the devil himself. So, let's talk. The WPA has called for, and I will repeat it because I will never allow you to forget, that the WPA said we must be civilly disobedient. The WPA has called for civil disobedience. It says, after careful study of the political developments in Guyana, since the installation of the PPP to office in 2020, the WPA has concluded that the time has come for all patriotic Guyanese to come together to stop the PPP's abuse of power. Since its return to office, the PPP has used the power of the government and the state to shut out all participation in decision-making by the official political opposition and civil society. It has closed all doors to democratic governance. It has monopolized all the formal political space. It has politically witch-hunted critics of its poor governance. It has returned Guyana to the frightening days of human rights abuse and dictatorship. But its new dictatorship is occurring in different circumstances. It is occurring in the age of oil money. And so WPA is calling on all patriotic Guyanese, all right-thinking citizens, to engage in civil disobedience. And part of that civil disobedience that the WPA is calling for is a boycott and resistance to local government elections. Because we are convinced that local government elections, the preparations to local government elections are flawed and fraudulent. Willfully so. Because the intention is to rig those elections. And let me explain to you, let me tell you, I like to show you the evidence. I don't just make false claims. Right there in Peters Hall, the PPP has never won in that area. And so in the efforts to gerrymander, proposals came when they made those proposals, when the minister proposed to reassign boundaries and was stopped in his tracks by a court action because it was not his authority. But Claudette Singh took it upon herself with the supporting GECOM commissioners to the PPP and used those very boundaries to local government elections. What they have done, they have shifted people out of their original constituents, shifted them out. And so they disrupt the normal flow of things. And so you grew in an area, people knew you in an area. You have a good rapport, you have a good relationship with people in an area. As a candidate in that area, you're likely to win. They change the boundaries so they can shift you out of the area and put you in an unknown space where people don't know you. It's called gerrymandering. Can you imagine? Or have you recognized that Shell Mohammed is contesting local government elections in Peters Hall? Or in that area there, that locality? Have you recognized that Shell Mohammed, a well-known friend and crony of the PPP, a man whose son, it is alleged, masterminding the paper shots murder, is contesting local government. Because they're saying that the message is so effective. Listen, let me tell you something. Trina get food, little boy in a peltum. Let me tell you, when you see they have to resort to disconnecting my program, for me, that is the biggest vote of confidence. That is the biggest vote of confidence to me. Because they're saying that the message is so effective and impactful, the only thing they can do is try to stop the people from hearing. And I from Buxton back down side, I got a good friend in China, no Shashri Martin. What I said, Neil? Morning, Shashri Martin. You know, Shashri said somebody tell him, he said them people over Buxton like that back and say people stubborn like a mule. Hey, you know that? So it's a combination. I don't know what they're going to do to stop me from speaking. That's all I'm saying. I'll share the life, share the life, share the life. We got things to talk. They want us to talk, we going to talk. Rebel said, they said, don't sing about that. Thank you, Annette Hamer. I like my program managers. I love my program managers. Annette said, don't forget where you stop. You're talking about Shell Mohammed and local government elections. Yes. And so I was saying to you, you see, man, I want to talk to 1,000 people on this issue. Y'all share the life. I can't go there yet. Y'all share the life. Let me talk about small things. Oh, let me remind y'all the birth anniversary and the anniversary of Kams TV coming up. Yes, it's the 15th of July. Y'all see the post up there? Yes, the 15th of July, we got a big celebration. We got to celebrate 3 years of Kams. Because the 3 years, Kams didn't joking. Kams have been bringing it to you live and direct. We only got to get whisper. And then we just go down, as I said, deep in what? Deep in the pumpkin vine. Right? We only want to whisper and we go after it. They got a dirty stinking story I can tell you just now. Anyhow, do you know you have a minister who left this country and went overseas to get married? I understand states' resources were used. Well, y'all know about that? Yeah? Are you aware of that? Y'all got to know y'all money is used. In the previous PPP government, and they'll not let take y'all money for going to fix the wind seed. We're going to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the other things, right? So let me talk about that. In the previous government, and they'll take y'all money, apart from them, Labo got the thief also. Right? Apart from the Labo that Anel stole, and was placed before the courts for, and the court said there is enough evidence for the trial to proceed, right? And they did all kinds of things to delay the trial until they were installed, and then they hack Shalimar throughout the cases. He the thief the money for going to fix the win. See, do you remember that? Right? They got another one in the government that takes state money for go foreign. To live out her fantasies. She be not married. I think I might get rich. She's a minister of house and water. House and water. That's your minister. Y'all know she go overseas and married. Somebody said something about dildo. What is this? It's who talk about dildo. What y'all talking about dildo? What y'all said the woman married but is a dildo. She got 3 years of hard work. Like they don't like your son was. They lash him again because they said dildo. You know. Y'all know this is a trying again, right? But I ain't giving up. The PPP is already right? They want to control local democratic organs to get access to the database of the resources of your communities so that they can recognize, they can get an understanding of what is unused, number one. Number two, what is neglected, where people are paying scant regard to their inheritances, and then they will misappropriate them. Sissy Longer, move to the front of the class. I like bright students. They want to get access to that information in the local democratic organs. Who owns what? What taxes are due and unpaid? Whose documents cannot be found and accounted for? Those are the kind of things they want to get into your neighborhood democratic councils to find out. Let me take this call. I'll tell you more about that. Call A Live. Good morning.
Sorry about this, Gaddafi, but I got to run into a meeting. I got to say this before, this thing float away from my mind. First thing first, now man go and take state money and he went and buy wrong thing. He got buy powder sperm. So, powder sperm just blow it. Can't stick on nothing. This we went and did. And they'll not do that. Number two, that thing that you're talking about the government, president and his unconstitutionality, all those laws that he break, I would love the power that be stick on that and it must be all over the place. Stick on it and don't come off like how they come off for other issues. You just use it for 2 weeks and then next thing it goes dead. Imran video must be played over. It must be a turn in the ass. And Imran must even be one who must want to run and hide. Because we got to play this over and over and over. We got to stick it to them all the time. We can't let up. We can't relax and jump from issue to issue. But you continue what you're doing and hammer them. They're getting scared. You continue highlighting everything. Thanks, my brother.
Thank you for your call. We're talking local government elections to the PPP. And winning the NDCs and the municipalities is not about wanting to provide service to the people. It is about wanting to access information from the people. Even now, where they're putting people to work in the NDCs and so on, these 10 days a month worker, these $40,000 a month worker, they're putting them there and putting them to research the property books in those NDCs to see who owns what. To see what rates are unpaid. to see where they can fight for prescriptive right and adverse possession. Those are the things the PPP and their cronies are about right now where local government elections is concerned. I like to tell you all, history is a good teacher. I love to follow the history of certain behavior and things in this society. The older folks will tell you that Desmond Knight had to pass an act in Parliament that we call the Notman Act. The Notman Act, to protect people's property in the capital city of Georgetown, because the municipality at that time, they had a racket. They had spotters. Notman had spotters in the city council. And they used to pass information to him. Hey, this property in default. And he gonna come and he gonna pay the taxes. And then he gonna apply for prescriptive right. And a lot of people lost their property like that to Notman. And when Desmond Knight realized that they were dispossessing black people by like that, the Notman Act was passed. And I think the act says that any property that is in, indebted to the council, anybody buying must first and foremost be the relatives. They must get first option to clear the debts and pay whatever penalty. Come to my recognize and the decline in the call. Please wait. It's not as get vexed, you know. Right? Caller, there must be a reason I'm declining the call. Good morning. There must get a reason for me to be declining your call. Go ahead.
I want to tell you that you are not working with the fire service. You was a fire blazer. You and the lady. Whenever I come to Guyana, I will come and visit you guys. Let me tell you. Tell it to them straight all the time. OGUNSEYE, stand up, my brother. Eat your food this morning and get strong. Because if you got to lie down. This me order this morning. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. You know, this is hard work. A lot of people don't understand how hard this thing is. I don't come here with notes, you know. I have to be consistently mental. So sometimes if you see me declining your call, I understand no matter, I'm going to finish a point. And you're going to get for call. Because if you alone want to talk, I can allow you to talk, you know. Right? Good. So y'all got to respect the hustle. Them street boys say, so respect the hustle. You understand? So yes, I'm saying. Alright, y'all didn't want to hear me. Call it live.
Yes, I'm live. Let me call you back when you get out.
Sure. I was saying that when Desmond Knight realized what was happening by these corrupt people, to disenfranchise people, to take away people's property, to rob people of their inheritance and so on, the Notman Act was passed. And here it is, the PPP, since Noah was a boy, has been trying to get control of the Georgetown municipality to start with. Let's deal with Georgetown municipality. Why? Georgetown is the capital city. Georgetown is the heart of the country. Georgetown is where a whole lot of money passes on a daily basis. And so if we could control Georgetown, you could make it like Chinatown. You got to pay to play. Our friends, favorites, and families will control what is happening in the city. So long as we can't control it, we're not going to invest in it. We're not going to support the mayor and councillors to fix it. Check the history and you will see that that is the operation of the PPP. As a matter of fact, one PPP local government minister at one time, I think it was Collymore, I can't remember, who said that he wished there would be an outbreak in the city. Y'all remember? Control prime business spots and give it to their friends, favorites, and families. They will do all that they can do to force African Guyanese out of business in the city. Despite the fact that they're predominantly owners of business in the city, the few African Guyanese who have businesses in the city, they would like to see the Neighborhood Democratic Council. Let me explain that to you. A neighborhood democratic or a neighborhood like Buxton Falls is Buxton Friendship. Now, according to the laws, whatever is in the neighborhood is shared resources. So a man from Enterprise, for example, can come to the Buxton Falls NDC and apply to get lands in Buxton Bagdam to farm. You understand that? Now, if there are certain people who control the Buxton Falls NDC in terms of councillors and admin and all of that, then they understand the importance of Buxton Bagdam lands to Buxtonians. And so they will think twice to give away the Buxton Bagdam lands to outsiders of Buxton. And so you ain't gonna easily get people coming from Enterprise and more, well not and more, Enterprise and Falls and so on, and Bladenall and so on, to occupy our ancestral lands in the back of Buxton Bagdam and eventually might claim ownership and all kinds of things. That is when you have some people in control of the Buxton Falls NDC. What the PPP wants? The PPP wants to control a neighborhood like Buxton Falls. Because when they control a neighborhood like Buxton Falls and they change the admin staff and everything and put who they want inside, then they get them to do their biddings. And next you know, the lands at the back of Buxton are all in the names of the Singhs and the Kams and the Prasads. And the people whose ancestors left it there ain't got access to nothing. I'll tell you something. There had a man named Jingari. He's from Annandale. Annandale is not part of Buxton Falls NDC. But Jinga had the most cane beds in Buxton Bagdam. Why? Because there was a racket being carried on at the Buxton NDC. And it involved some Buxtonians too. Because there are people who used to go and acquire lands for Jenga in their names. And so when villagers were struggling to get a 10 plots of land and this plot of land, that man alone had over 100 plots of land in Buxton Bagdam as far as I remember. That is what the PPP likes, corruption. The PPP will facilitate that kind of things. And that is why we have to rig and control all the NDCs. A majority of the NDCs. Interested all the time. Y'all tell me, wow, suddenly Shell got an interest in that?
Calling to talk to you privately.
Okay, I'm on.
Okay, I wasn't prepared. Let me go to my, okay. Good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning, all Guyanese.
Morning, neighbor, morning. What you do, neighbor? What you do? I recognize we get a new team video. Yeah. I Vibes Desire that work for us. We have a new team video. Theme song, theme video.
Well, I invoke the WPA's position that we are engaging in civil disobedience and non-cooperation with the government. And on that grounds, I refuse to participate in the interview. The question in struggle, is not personal. Whatever sacrifice as a political activist or a political leader you have to make for your people, you have to make it.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Kams TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians, they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Brickford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow Port People Governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
friends of young Wyndham Bacchus. They deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Morning, neighbor. Morning, neighbor, morning, how are you doing? Morning, neighbors. Morning, neighbor, morning, how are you doing? It's 7 hours 27 on the 5th of April in the year 2023. Yes, just now it's Easter, bye. A lot of y'all gonna be flying kites. Yeah, a lot of kite flyers. Welcome to the program. How you been yesterday, bye? How y'all doing? How was your yesterday? What this man calling me for? How was your yesterday? What happened yesterday that was significant for you? Any money make? Money you have to make, you know. I gotta make money. Anybody got promoted on a job and so on and so forth and so forth? What happened? Y'all tell me. I see my friend Andrew Lewis celebrated 25 years in the Guyana Police Force. Big up yourself, old Lewis Ola. At least you've stuck to it. Some of us don't stick to nothing. According to my part, they call it yesterday, if it's powder, they don't stick. Oh, yeah. Good morning again. Listen, y'all had a good night. You rested well last night. I hope you rested well last night, you know. And y'all got some good energy to come and deal with early morning crashes like Randy Singh. Yes, I hope y'all got the energy to deal with these crashes like Randy Singh. Randy Singh said the only thing AP and you did was fire 7,500 sugar workers and 2,500 Amerindians. Well, hey, when you dance, you dance. Right? When you dance, you darn dance. Right? When you dance, you very dance. I don't know where they resurrect this 7,500 workers came from. As far as I know, it was about 4,000. I check with Bad Jack D and he gonna tell you the same number. So Randy saying it dance. With regard to the Amerindians, the PPP got a mantra, you know. The PPP would like to see everybody dependent on them. And you can't blame them. A lot of them are good students, you know. Let's give them that. A lot of them are good political students. They say Jack Dio used to sit on a Stalin lap. Hey, you ever Jack Dio used to sit on Stalin lap? What does that suggest? That he was a good student of Stalin? Or is it Putin? I think it's Putin, you know. Anyways, they are good students. They have all Russia, they good prince. Or the vice prince, whatever. And it basically instructs, it said, listen, you want to keep people endeared to you, you want to keep people devoted, committed to you, whatever, give them a little at a time. Don't give them everything at one time. Give them a little at a time. And so you give them a little bit now. And when it's done, they're going to come back for a little bit. Why you think, in order to try to say to the world that, listen, we got black people where we want them. Black people, we are not a racist government, and we are not a racist political party. We are inclusive and so on. They always are calling these community meetings in black people areas and giving them pittances. A box of food and $5,000. and Afro-Guyanese. Well, I should say nothing except PPP political work when PPP call them. Like if PPP has a meeting in the area, they bundle all of them in a vehicle and they carry them to where the meeting is to show that they had a lot of people at the meetings. And that is what they've been doing to the Amerindians. But when the Granger administration went into office in 2015, they determined that, listen, we don't want dependence, we want to empower people. And so instead of this program that they got just giving these youngsters $25,000 a month to do nothing, I'll show you something else. To do nothing, we will empower them. Right? We will create, I think it's called a Hinterland Entrepreneurial HEYS, Hinterland Entrepreneurial Youth Skills Program or something like that. Right? And so we're going to stop this program where people are going to just get $25,000 to do nothing except be political jacobouts. Right? The political jacobouts. We are going to empower them. We are going to create a program where they can go and go through a series of training. When they are done trained, as a matter of fact, while they're training, they're going to be receiving a stipend. When they are done training, they will get guidance in terms of writing business plans, business proposals, etc. Good? And then, the successful business proposals, the government of Guyana will provide funding for it. Good? The government of Guyana will provide funding for it. And so there were hundreds of persons that benefited from that skill training program in the interior. Good? Hundreds of persons benefited from that. And then they received funding. I remember that there were people who benefited from... Alright, I'm seeing a story here. Let me see if I can track it. $161 youths to receive business grants. Some 161 Region 10 youths are to receive business grants totaling over $8 million to aid their small business ventures as the Hinterland Employment Youth Service HAYS program continues to make huge strides countrywide. On Friday, Vice President and Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Alicock visited the Kumaka Resource Center in Linden, where he launched the program. Each participant will receive a grant of $50,000 to 8 small businesses in the region. These include snackets, grocery shops, poultry rearing, car wash, ice cream shops, beauty salons and supplies, game shops, DVD shops, electronic shops, welding and joinery, fuel and farming. According to a release from the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Alicock, addressing the gathering of youths, commended them for staying the course with the HAYS program. Quote, "This movement is about educating and respecting one another. It is an incentive enough to move you forward into your dreams. You can use these opportunities to create new products, new activities, like our chicken farms and fish farms. plant purple potato and other nutritious crops, use pieces of lumber, use the opportunity to turn them into valuable pieces for sale, end quote, the minister advised, to applause from the audience. Speaking of the positive impact the HACE program has had on her life, Shaniza Singh of the Three Friends community stated, quote, "Life since HACE has been good for me because I learned a lot from the training. The money I will be getting, I will use that to help expand my business, and I would like to thank our President and the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs for bringing HACE to our community, and I would like HACE to come back so that other youths can benefit." The HACE program is the ministry's flagship youth program aimed at giving indigenous hinterland youths a second chance at life through training and funding. It is currently ongoing in 112 hinterland communities countrywide and has impacted some 4,000 youths from 2015 to present. Another beneficiary from the Kamaka mines by the name of DeAndre Daniels at the event expressed her gratefulness for the program and thanked Neighborhood Democratic Council Chairman Dexter Harding for directions given to develop their businesses. Another testimony about the benefits of the program came from Kelly Blunt, a participant from the Siberia Old England, who stated, quote, "Life before HACE was very hard. I used to depend on my mother, who was a single parent, to take care of me. I used to get very frustrated many days, and then HACE came to my community, and I was very lucky to be part of the program. I am now my own boss. I started with ice cream and cone. I saved my stipend to buy my freezer and my scoop, and I saved my stipend again to buy other stuff. I still suffer from seizures, but my life is easier now." After listening to the testimonies, Mayor of Linden, Wanika Arendel, noted how privileged she is to see the camaraderie demonstrated by the respective communities. She commended the youths for remaining in their communities and for playing an integral role in their community's development. Meanwhile, Regional Executive Officer Orin Gordon noted that the exercise is a manifestation of a promise made to the youths of Linden for further development. Based on observation and statistics, he stated that HACE has moved from a program to becoming an irreversible movement. According to the ministry, the HACE program continues to positively change the lives of youths across the hinterland, and by doing so, is ensuring delivery of the good life promised. This was a news item in 2019. Right? This was in 2019. Go on the Ministry of Education page. That is where it is. Good? And so when these clowns, like Randy Singh, come and talk, their dotishness, you know that they suffered from the No Child Left Behind under prayer. Right? Because they don't understand what is empowerment. The PPP does not understand what empowerment is. The PPP's mantra is about dependency. They like to keep people dependent on them so they can dictate the lives of people. The same thing, note I said I will tell you something else. The same thing that they were doing to the Amerindian youths before the coalition took office in 2015 and introduced the HACE program. And mind you, as far as I understand, the HACE program has been discontinued. And the PPP is back to this crap. Back to this nonsense. So the Amerindians are going many steps backward again. The hinterland youths. But let's address what they're doing now. Because what they're doing now on the coastland is similar to what they did in the interior when they were there previously. Dale Jones is saying that he is from Kamaka Mines and now is only one set of people getting rich. Dale Jones, I want you to call the number when I open the line, 6225933, so that we can have a conversation about what's happening in the mines now. Right? Let's talk. The same thing that we're practicing with the interior youths, hinterland youths, about giving them this money every month and have them masquerade as political jacobouts is what they're doing on the coastland right now. That is what they are doing on the coastline right now. This 10-day a month work program that they have, where they're taking young people and send them to schools and send them to offices and send them all over the place to work for 10 days a month. And paying them $40,000 a month. It's similar to the program that they were doing in the interior to keep Amerindians dependent on them. It is the same thing they're doing on the coastland. Let me tell you, you see they got photographs of a whole set of black people, African Guyanese sitting down at Babu Jan. The majority of those people are 10-day a month workers. They sent what you call a memorandum. They sent memorandum to each office, each department, where those 10-day a month workers are attached, and requested that the 10-day a month workers attend the function at Babu Jan. Now simple, I keep saying, a mouth is muzzled by the food it eats. A mouth is muzzled by the food it eats. And so since they are feeding them with that $40,000 a month pittance, and they seem to believe that it's the only way out for them, at least under this administration. They don't want to lose the $40,000 a month. They don't want to be discriminated against further. And so they put their tails between their legs and they attended the Babu Jan. But let the photos speak for themselves. Right? Let the photos speak for themselves. Did those faces look like, or do those faces look like they were happy to be there? They weren't. They were coerced to be there. Because the risk is, they don't want to find themselves in Jaggio Black Book by saying, no, we ain't going. Because if you find yourself in that Black Book by saying you're not going, the possibility is you're not going to be made, retained as a 10-day a month worker. And so you lose your $40,000. But let's ask the question. After receiving $40,000 a month as a 10-day worker, how empowered are those young people? How empowered are those young people? They're not much more empowered than when they took the 10-day a month part-time job. Could not $40,000 be used as a stipend to offer them skill training, so that after the skill training they are empowered, they can earn way more than $40,000 a month? The PPP is not concerning itself with that. It wants to keep them in subjection. It wants to keep them in poverty. And so for as long as we can keep you running around on a hill, running around on a wheel like a hamster, 10 days a month, and at the end of that 10 days you get $40,000. We'll keep them there. Let them think that they're engaged in something that's progressive. And a year goes, 2 years goes, 3 years goes, and they're getting older, you know. And they're getting older, you know. And they're hoping that eventually they're going to be made permanent after the 10-day work, 10 days a month. That is what they're doing. Over staff for the NDC. But in wickedness to the people of BV tribe, wickedness to the NDC, wickedness to the residents, and wickedness to those people who they sent as 10-day a month worker. Because this is an agency that has vacancies for permanent staff. They're not interested in empowering people with permanent jobs. They're and interested in keeping people dependent on them by giving them temporary jobs. And based on your behavior, we're going to know if you're going to gain next more work. So Randy Singh, don't tell me about 2,500 Amerindians who were taken off of a handout scheme and empowered. You said 2,500. The news item I read for you said how many were benefiting at the time? 4,000. It's 1,500 more than the 2,500 who stopped getting handout. And that 4,000 included those 2,500 because all of them were shifted to the HACE program. All of them benefited from it. I can find other stories. Some of the young ladies talked of establishing a salon, and I remember one of them, I think, established an internet cafe, and so on and so forth. They became their own bosses. Be your own boss. They became their own bosses. What the PPP is doing, it's keeping our young people in perpetual poverty. By giving them $40,000 to function as political lackeys for 10 days a month. So, y'all don't come thinking that we are not aware of what's happening. It's y'all intellectually lazy, not us. I'm going to show y'all something else. I like how y'all accept my agenda some mornings, you know. Because it only turns out to be detrimental to you. It only turns out to be more detrimental to you. I'll show you something else. Somebody talking about Cos Granger planting chip factory. The PPP has a way of causing everything that comes from the APNU or PNC or opposition side. They cost rice flour for years. Have you seen recently how they have been praising rice flour? As if they just woke up and got a rice flour moment. Eureka, we discovered rice flour. And we're using it with a 2080 mix, I think, with wheat and flour to make bread and so on in 2023. Well, Barnum, they're doing this since in the 80s. Since in the 80s. But because the PPP was engaged in civil disobedience and undermining the government, they walked from corner to corner and told their supporters to cry shame at rice flour. They walked from corner to corner and tell their supporters to cry shame at NIS. So there's the NIS money they take and build Barbie's bridge for their friends, favorite and cronies. Now they tell you about the virtues of rice flour, what a wonderful thing it is. But we knew that since Forbes Barnum Day. We knew that since Forbes Barnum Day. Now y'all singing the praise as if you have discovered, you know who y'all gonna fool? Them young people who has no connection to the history of this country. And who the adults are failing to educate. And I'm saying who the adults are failing to educate because I'm repeating. It is the duty of us, all the people, to sit our youths down and teach them about Guyana, what Guyana really is. A lot of them only know Guyana from the point of view of the PPP in power. And so they know Guyana from a point of view of lawlessness and do as you like. And so when a government like the Granger government tries to put law and order in place, they see it as an affront to them. But we have a duty to teach our young people. And we must teach them. I'm showing you what else the PPP is about when it comes to empowering people. They don't empower nobody. They have no interest in empowering nobody. They want to keep people obligated to them.
The Buxton Friendship Grantees Co-op Society Farming Group received several farming implements on Friday to boost their productivity. Government intends to develop an agriculture industry that is resilient and thriving. Land tiller, brush cutter, cutlasses, fertilizer formulas, forks, spades, rakes, and shovels were among the farming inputs distributed.
I hope they will use it to the benefit of the farmers in the community by the group, but they will use it. And I like this group, it's an active group. So on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, we'll continue to work and give you all the kind of input to help you in the community, right?
Minister Mustafa also pledged his commitment to helping farmers to expand coconut cultivation in the community.
I'll be working with them through NARI to have them do the coconut, about approximately 5 acres of coconut production in Buxton Friendship area. So very shortly you'll come into the community back again and I'll visit you, right?
Farmer Leroy Amer noted that the farming tools and the expansion of coconut production will also provide opportunities for the youths in the community.
In getting the young people involved on the long-term crop, I think they would be able to capitalize on that because as time goes on, you know that the long-term, for example, the coconut, 50 to 70 years, the 5 years, the 3 years, and 30 to 50 years, there's a lifespan. So if you get young people involved to do them crop, I think they would be able to develop them in some way that, you know, they could be able to accomplish whatever they need to accomplish.
Kams audio son, you burn this swine when I want you shine.
The Buxton Friendship Grantees Co-op Society Farming Group received several farming implements on Friday to boost their productivity. Government intends to develop an agriculture industry that is resilient and thriving. Land tiller, brush cutter, cutlasses, fertilizer formulas, forks, spades, rakes, and shovels were among the farming inputs distributed.
I hope they will use it.
You hear what they give to the farmers of Buxton Friendship? The grantee co-op as them by Scarlet itself. They got another story behind it, but I ain't gonna discuss that this morning. But here they're talking about empowering farmers in Buxton Friendship. They get them cutlass, they get them fork, they get them shovel, they get them spade, they get them land tiller, a manual land tiller. They gave them tools for modern day slavery because that's how they see them. That's what they see them as, modern day slaves. Under the coalition is put, they gave them boats. They got 2 boats in this village that the coalition was donating to them. I wonder where them boats there. Boat and engine. The coalition had a plan to develop Farm to Market Road and clear the trench to those boats and engine to run. What did PPP replace that with? Fork, cutlass, tiller, spade, shovel. Buxton. That's what Buxtonian deserve. That is what the African Guyanese deserve as support from the Ministry of Agriculture that says they want to develop a resilient agricultural industry. I think that's what his story say. Right? But hear what Starbuck News say. Y'all hear what Starbuck News says. Tractors worth over $100 million were handed over by President Ali and intended to boost. Let me start it from the top. They say picture tells 1,000 words. You see those? You see those tractors? Tractors, subventions handed over to 14 Region 3 NDCs. Tractors and subventions handed over to 14 Region 3 NDCs. The government of Guyana through the local government Ministry and Regional Development distributed 14 tractors to 14 neighborhood democratic councils in Region 3 during a 2-day outreach. The tractors worth over 100 million were handed over by President Ali and are intended to boost works on the ground, and also the partial fulfillment of a promise made by the president, which also included the handout of subventions to the NDCs. While they are giving Buxtonian farmers cutlass and forks, they're giving Region 3 tractors and cash. What are they giving them? Tractors and cash. And when the coalition had given Buxton a tractor with plowing implements and so on under the RAID program, the Rural Agriculture Infrastructure Development Program, the tractor and implements disappear under the PPP. That is no longer available to Buxtonian farmers. It's no longer available to Buxtonian farmers. Ask anybody about it. Ask the Ministry of Agriculture. They were responsible for its management. Ask them where it is. Tractor and implements procured by the government of Guyana through the Ministry of Agriculture for farmers of Buxton, the Rural Agriculture Infrastructure Development Program. Started under the coalition government. Ithaca, Buxton, Triumph and Mocha were the beneficiaries. See what they are doing to Mocha after they got into power. Mocha used to have a very vibrant market day full of produce and everything. The Mocha farmlands used to produce in abundance. See what they're doing to them. They're flooding them out. They're flooding them out. So when I talk about the PPP wanting to keep people in dependency and abject poverty, those are the strategies that they're using to impact the lives of African Guyanese. Right, Randy Singh? Grains are planting, chip and cocoa going to improve the economy. Planting chip and cocoa do improve the economy. If you're from a village, as a matter of fact, let me don't even go to a village yet. Look around the society and see the number of fast food joints that are opening up. Look around the society and see the number of people who are establishing, as we call them, food caravans along the thoroughfares. And check and see if it's not cooked up along with other things they're selling. To sample the local cuisine. Cook up is part of the local cuisine. Plantain chips, part of the local cuisine. And so when Granger say invest, cook, do business with plantain chip and cook up and black pudding and so on, he wasn't reinventing a wheel, but he was recognizing a niche market. And let's tell you something. All of y'all, like Randy Singh was talking about cook up, that's left where they're there and come to African Guyanese villages to look for cook up and black pudding and sauce. That's a fact. And so if you had a vision or you had a wherewithal to start a fast food business, even with cook up as one commodity, and do it to the best of your ability, it would have brought clients to you, it would have brought money to you, it would improve your economy. And by extension, it will improve your village economy. And by extension, when village economy is improved, the country's economy is improved. But y'all are so intellectually lazy. You cannot recognize the interrelationship of these things. Right? We got a young lady on the Buxton line top, Shani. I give you a plug, Shani. James Bond said when he want the best cook up on curry, he does go by Shani. She there at the junction of Middlewalk Road and railway line. Friendship Middlewalk and railway line. On a daily basis, people leave from as far as Georgetown, as far as I'm aware, to come to Shani to get lunch. Not only for themselves, but many others. Cook up, fried rice, curry fish, curry pork, some kind of vegetable. They come to Buxton at Shani to get it. It improves the Buxtonian economy, and I'm going to tell you why. They got some youngsters doing motorbike delivery now in Buxton. Shani, that Melanie sent a food for me. It's a motorbike delivery going to do it. Money for them. But y'all intellectually lazy. Y'all just want to be critical. And you know what is the other thing? To start a business with cocoa planting chip or any indigenous thing, for the most part, you don't need $100 million in profits, in investment. And so Granger was saying to people, start your small businesses. Use your skill. I say it every day. Use your skill. Start your small businesses. I'm not saying that was the beginning and end of empowerment. Granger could have done a lot more. It's not the beginning nor the end. But he was showing people a start. And while Cook-Up was referenced, in short, he was saying use your skill. You don't need a whole lot of capital when you got skill. But instead of doing that, for the citizens of this country, what the PPP doing? Keep our young people on a wheel like a hamster. 10 days a month, $40,000. 10 days a month, $40,000. 10 days a month, $40,000. It does nothing for them. But some people might see it as a jewel and a crown. Because poverty is so pervasive in this society that people can hardly find money to eat on a daily basis. And so $40,000, 200 US, you know. 200 US. Approximately. To provide housing, clothing, food, sustenance to them. It might barely make food, so they can't take out some to say they will use it like an educational grant and further their education. Let's talk empowerment. On the opposite of that, WPA say, look, give every household $1 million Guyana from the oil money. They will use it how they see it fit to empower themselves. Whether they want to fix a roof, whether they want to invest in business, whether they want to send the people to get further education, they will use it as they see fit for their empowerment. $1 million a month, $1 million a year per household. That is thinking about people's empowerment. Because when you give them $1 million per year, they use that for their priority projects. While the government use the windfall from the oil economy to take care of other matters in the economy, in the society. Welfare services and infrastructure and so on. $1 million per household is not going to break the bank. That is what the WPA says, and that is what the WPA will support, and that is what the WPA knows will empower people for starters. But the PPP has no interest in that. What I say? It can't happen now, and it will never happen under the PPP government. Who wants a government that will tell the people that we will never empower you with money that is coming from resources that belong to you? Who wants a government like that? We must see the back of the PPP. And it's not difficult. Ali must be impeached. He breached the Constitution. We must not forget that Ali must be impeached. The citizens must take to the streets and call for the impeachment of Ali. So Jaiwan Bundari is identifying 3 hotspots for cook-up. Shenny and Buxton lined up on Friendship lined up. The lady at Pleasance lined up. And Compton cook-up. If you ask me, there are things I can point out to you that are much, much beneficial to them because they're owning their own business. They are their own bosses. They're getting to do just what them big Indian business merchant doing. Choose how much tax to pay. The lines are open 6225933 is the number to call. 6225933 is the number to call. The lines are open. Yeah, Sean Anthony Ben is pointing out the dog food industry. When people started doing dog food, a lot of the PPP were critical. Nowadays, under the PPP government, you see how many dog food stalls are popping up. Because the people find it to be a source of income. And if the PPP was doing so much better than the coalition, then dog food stalls should have been disappearing. How about that? You only have to have a vision and be willing to work with it. Hey, the idiot. When he sings, say, okay, let us all open a dog food and cook-up stand. We don't have to all do the same thing. But we all should have equal and just opportunities to go after our passions. Call A Live, good morning.
Morning again, my brother. You know, these people are so intellectually lazy, they don't understand what language a man was speaking. When the man talked language, etc., the man was talking about micro business, and they don't understand how important micro business is for your society. They don't understand that. So, you know, sometimes I was watching them and shake my head like, wow, y'all selling pulaury on the street? Wisdom, you understand me? Y'all selling dal puri, y'all selling channel, gullah jamun and them thing now. Micro business and them they've been sending the children to school and schools doing such. You understand? Jamaica at one time, just the export of cassava made 60 million that year. I will never forget that thing. Look, everywhere around the world, everybody doing cassava chip, potato chip, even on the fudge, I just go around here buying fudge with the Cubans make, and all of that, just smiling, just like, here we go, LFS corner. Here we go, my brother. You understand? I tried to put on a voice note, this Babu John thing. The Cumberland NDC, Cumberland, I said the NDC is in Kanji, right? One of the head of the NDC, they had buses waiting and the buses were empty. And he said around a voice, no threatening the people. Those $40,000 that they were, as I trying to put on the voice. So the friend's supposed to get it. Yes, that is what he did. Threatening people because the people ain't got time with them. The bus is empty. But he think it's time bully tactics on the people. So when I get that voice, don't tell us him.
Thank you, caller.
Good man.
Charlie Williams say you could check out Toya Shop, Tola Shop at Golden Grove for finger licking fried chicken. Y'all getting a good advertising spread this morning. Y'all best remember to contribute to Kams. Right? People are just sharing their experiences. While the likes of Randy Singh defending all the ills of the PPP. Imagine the people at Golden Grove that we're talking about Golden Grove. The footstools went to Golden Grove and shut up the people place and so on, destroy people's shop front and all of that. Mark Super, the Afrocentric clown, house slave, promised to look into fixing them. I guess he's still looking. Simona Brooms had to collaborate and go and help to fix one of the shop fronts in Golden Grove. The other person I understand had to fix hers by herself. And Randy Singh is here to tell people what? Cutlasses to boxer and tractors for Region 3. That is equity. The lines remain open 6225933. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. Let me see if I got any voice notes. Don't see any. Don't see any. There's another video clip I'm looking for. Let's see if I find it for you. It's coming up. You can get it just now. Come on, man. What's the problem?
Introduce set-asides in government contract awards to reduce the uneven playing field caused.
Look at this one. We talking about equity and racism. Look at this one. Yesterday I mentioned to you, you couldn't find a black and African Guyanese among the contractors. Look at this one. You see the contractors? Explain that, Randy Singh. How is it? We could find all these photos at Babu Jan. And one set of people supporting the PPP, all set of Afro-Guyanese. But you can't find one of them Afro-Guyanese getting a contract. Watch. Look at it. Y'all explain that for me now. Explain it. Randy, talk to me. You could always see photo with a whole set of Afro-Guyanese doing 10 days a month work. But you can't find them among the contractors. What does that tell you about your government? What What does it tell you about the government? Huh? Listen. Lines open. Lines are still open. Call, let's talk the thing, man. I see some voice notes. Like they want to load. Call live. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki. Now, about this this $40,000 work. Right now in my village, in Amsel, there is a lot of problem because all of them were expected to become millionaires. Are now seeing that they're being used, and the house slave who was the extraditor of this business and director and everything has fallen through the cracks because the house slave now is being treated for who he really is, a black house slave. So the installed regime is not giving him the strength like providing garbage bags, providing the people who had slashing the ground with, God, they had to slash the parapet with adequate amount of gas to defeat the slashing machine and the other components like catgut and so to clean the place. So right now, all of that has fallen through. Remember, I spoke to you about the wall about the community center. Well, the community center is in total confusion because we usually use that community center for Easter Monday, mainly that is a village day. They decided they said they would build a bridge. Well, Kadaki, I know you would have built a better concrete bridge than that. They built the bridge about 8 inches over the land. Then there is a big drain to both sides of the drain. The entrance, both entrance and exit. So if you got a vehicle, you can't cross over on that thing what they have for a bridge. The building has not been completed from since last year, October, to now. And when I spoke to the people of the committee, I said, this is what is going to happen. It has eventually happened. I learned as late as Monday at the funeral that the installed regime is now moving around to see all community centers that has now, where people don't have anything going on in their communities, to have them demolished and abandoned. That is what they're going around doing. They think that the bill at the foreshore at Windsor for Blanc jealousy, there is a fee now attached to a ground, an area that was free for anybody to access. They have to pay now to go and that to sit on side. That is their business. They look for that. Yesterday, a person was trying to call into the program to say that this is the month of Ramadan. And this Bible calls up Imran. I think Imran is a Muslim name. And because of his cussing, it isn't right to like degrade the month of Ramadan to play that. But Kadaki, OGUNSEYE was arrested in our religious time of Lent. We live with that.
Call your life. I don't know what went wrong with you on this call.
Yes. Good morning, Brother Kadaki. Good morning. Someone was trying to get onto your program from the USA, but they weren't getting, so they asked me to convey a message to you. They're asking if you can please play the tape of the Indian guy that you played yesterday if you can please click every day so that the black people who believe that there is no racism in Guyana, they can hear that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Elijah Merom, 625.
You're doing something, Jihad. So I don't know why this man calling to say not to play what this Muslim boy said to an entire nation of African people. Do they hate us that much that he could put what comes out from a person defiles them? And that was embedded in him so that he could have brought it out. And Kadaki, whenever, let it every day, let that particular TikTok movie, save it all you can and play it and let them hear. So when things like Randy Singh and the likes of him, it comes on the program to spew a lot of discussion and destruction, and you're wasting a lot of time talking to things like Randy Singh. That must be on Randy Singh subconscious when Randy Singh goes to talk stupidness to destroy this program. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. Lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. I have some voice notes. And while let's show you this. Let me show you the screen because Rhonda mentioned the confusion at the ground in Den Amstel. Let me show you the confusion at the school in Linden. Y'all remember that school? That's the school that was burnt down, and the government granted a contract a statement. Call all the line, please. Call the line, please. The government granted a contract a statement. You know which statement? $46 million they granted the contract for. The statement, it's St. James Boys. That is where the school is, you know. Since 2021, the Londoners and their children are still waiting for the school. You see where it is? That's the state. Friends, family, and favorites. That is what state money is used to do. Call it live, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Kadaki. Good morning to all the viewers and listeners. Good morning, all the Guyana. You know, I want to talk about something a little bit off topic this morning. Not too much, but it's about the proposed impeachment of the installed president. I think that the coalition MPs they shouldn't be afraid to move towards that impeachment or whatever we call it in Guyana, because I don't think we should worry about thinking about the votes, because I really do think that an impeachment will be successful, because that deal, I think once there's an impeachment up against the president, Jagio will order his ministers, MPs to vote for that impeachment, just so he could remove the installed president, so he could get another term. I really do think that, and then the president and all of the PP supporters will see the real devil side, the real evil side of Barry Jabdio, because I know exactly that's exactly what he would do. I think he would encourage, so he would promote such a thing. He would encourage such a thing to his ministers who he has so much power over. So to the MPs in the coalition, y'all go ahead and let's file that impeachment to remove this president, and let's see the true colors of Barry Jabdio. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Voice note.
That's it already. Yeah. Let's get that morning. Can the Ninja been saying this thing for a long time? PPP prepping. They're putting people in places, in all offices, that way you go there, you have no saying. Parliament is the same thing they're doing. It's not now they start doing this thing, start doing it long. They setting everything. Election, they don't setting it for rigging, they don't start rigging it, hacking it. Everything they set in places. Don't many black people that care about Bujan, they're making them a clown. They're still making black people a clown car. They're born as a clown. They must sell out.
Call it life.
Yes, good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. This is Flash Garden again. Let me ask you a question. Did your program came on back yesterday when them cut it off?
Yeah, I went on back. I came back on.
Okay, all right, well, you know, I always love to preach a Bible by Moses said, a man slap him back. Then Jesus said, I come not to condemn, but to fulfill. Peter, put up the sword. You live by the sword. You're punished by the sword. I do hope that when the government change, they will receive back them same medicine. Let me move on. I'm calling upon all Guyanese today, black Guyanese, Flash Garden, calling on you guys today. That same video they don't want to see is a reason why. I'm calling on all Guyanese. I you send that same particular video to all them ambassador in Guyana. All of them page is public page. Y'all can't get charged for that and arrest. Oh no, because embassy does love to get information, good news and bad news. All the CARICOM leaders, I you send it to them page because the page is public. I send it to them page. All the private sector send it to them page. The UN body in Guyana to them page, you send it to them. It's an easy way for choke that will be neck. Flash Garden again calling upon all them black Guyanese in Guyana. I you flood all of them because them is the one put them inside there and they must see for themselves because sometimes them is I talk them and say them you know. So I send that video to all them ambassadors there, every one of them in Guyana, consulate or whatever, send that same one. I do that for Flash Garden because they could see and know that the people that put in power, what they're doing to black people today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your call. Charge. And so let us continue to rally around Brother TACUMA, continue to show solidarity. Let us not get weary in this fight. It's going to be a long one.
Good morning, Brother Gadaki and viewers. It's by Randy saying, you gotta be a PPP true. Cap on them thing. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. More voice notes. Yes, I'm saying Brother TACUMA returns to court tomorrow at the Vigilance Magistrates Court, and voice note.
Good morning, Kidaki. You know, I want to show you a little from your topic that you may be dwelling on. Here what happened. I want to talk about this NIS business, if you may permit me. My daughter is a teacher, right? She got a baby, couple months now. She put in for NIS and thing, right? Now they got her running steady with this baby. She have the baby, it's 3 months now, going to 4 months, right? They are not giving her the NIS money. They're telling her the inspector got to inspect. And the inspector ain't finished inspecting yet. And the inspector went to the school one time and now the inspector get to do something else. You know, but they got her pushing around all the time. Now this girl don't get this baby. 3 months now going on to 4 months. And she's in need of her money. She really need of her money. Right? Now, here what my daughter is thinking, she's thinking about stop paying the NIS because she ain't getting the NIS money. She telling me that she ain't going back, but I tell her she has to go back because it's her money. You see? And why I ain't got no other way that I could enlighten this problem. That's why I say I'm going to call into your program and enlighten this problem. Let this problem be heard, because NIS are taking advantage of people's children. You know, you pay NIS and then when you go there now, you either got to go and cost them out or something to get your money. They got me daughter running there all the time. 3 months done. This girl done supposed to go back to work. She can't go back to work because she ain't got no money. You understand? Now she was there yesterday. They tell her the inspector in there, or the inspector done to work, and all kind of ignorance. You know? I would like you to enlighten this problem. I'd like my daughter to get our money. Because remember, it's our money. It's not NIS money, it's our money that they're taking from our salary. You understand? Alright, thanks. And I pray that you enlighten this problem for me.
Thank you for that voice note. The problem with NIS is NIS is a perpetual troubled institution in this country. As long as the PPP in charge, you get in trouble. Listen, I know a lot of people who waited for maternity benefit from NIS and the children was turned 1 year old. It might sound comical, but that's NIS when it comes to your benefits, especially maternity benefits. I don't know why they treat our mothers like that, right? And like the caller is saying, it's a case that when you go on maternity leave or any sick leave, as a matter of fact, your money gets cut from your place of work. They pay you half, I think, and NIS pays the other half. So for all of that time, that young lady is on half salary, and now she's trying to get her money out of NIS to make ends meet. And they're giving her a hard time. Where is social justice in this country then? Caller, your life.
Good morning, Kadaki. How are you? Please permit me a little time to talk about the same NIS thing.
Go ahead.
Kadaki, I wanna let you know that NIS, 90% of the staff and 90% of the recipients, the persons who have to receive NIS are black people. And it's black people giving black people a hard time. They're the ones who... Do you agree with me that 90% of the staff of NIS are black people?
Yes, I might agree with that. Let me stick a pin in man, how we reasoning. You just asked me a question, let me finish the man.
Please reach out to the NIS and black people and tell them, stop giving black people a hard time.
Caller.
The government has nothing to do with if they have to approve your payment. They are the ones who is giving black people a hard time. Please reach out to them, Kadaki. Use your program and let them know. They can fix NIS. They can stop giving people a hard time, Kadaki. Please tell them to give black people what they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I will have my say with the caller off the line now. 90% black people are staffing NIS. That might be accurate. I mean, the study hasn't been done, but it might be accurate. 90% beneficiaries being black people at NIS, definitely not accurate. I can tell you that. Good. NIS is supposed to be an equal opportunity agency. And so whoever contributes to NIS will be the beneficiaries of NIS. And so again, if we're going to make an argument that the beneficiaries are 90% Afro-Guyanese, you're saying to me it's 90% Afro-Guyanese have been contributing to the NIS, and Jack Dio take the 90% Afro-Guyanese money and invest it in Bobby's Bridge. Is that accurate? Perhaps. Just perhaps. But why we're saying that the agency is staffed by 90% Afro-Guyanese, and therefore Afro-Guyanese are giving Afro-Guyanese problems. The police is staffed by 90% or more Afro-Guyanese, and so too is the Guyana Defense Force. And they are giving Afro-Guyanese problems too. But when the Granger government and Afro-Guyanese majority government was in place, these agencies weren't giving Afro-Guyanese problems. Am I right? Are you following my reasoning? And so these agencies weren't giving Afro-Guyanese problems or so much problems under an Afro-Guyanese led government. in the coalition government, then I'm saying it has something to do with the policy of the government. The police used to behave like decent human beings under Granger. And since Jaguar them take over the police as a set of hoodlums, it would appear. Why? The overarching policy of the government. Throughout this country, for example, people are complaining of not being able to get social security benefits, things like, what I call it, public assistance. Across this country, a whole set of people they have removed from the public assistance database. People are genuinely in need of public assistance, especially in Linden, for example. Many would argue that 90% of the social services, what do you call them, the social workers might be black people, and they're giving black people problem. But what is the overarching policy of the agency? That is what we have to look at. And since I know, for example, we have a racist government, and they've been displaying racism in all of their policies, is it possible that the policies at NIS and police and GDF are fluctuating to accommodate this racist behavior of this government? I don't know. Like I from Buxton background side, but I ain't intellectually lazy. Let's try to reason things out. Y'all determine that for me. You see, part of the problem is black people are at the forefront of a lot of things in this country. They are the face of a lot of things in this country, but they are not the power brokers. Look at Sam, what's his name? Super Mark Phillips. The man is a prime minister, he's a prime minister, he's the first vice president in this country. But does he have any authority? The only time you see and hear from him is when they send him into a black community to try to convince black people that he is Afrocentric and he has their best interest at heart. And they must take beating from the PPP. Because he says so. Higgins is head of the police force under whatever terminology they're using. But the police force is delivering the most blows to black people when they stand up for their rights. I think it's just the face of the institution that matters. The policy of the institution is what matters. Minutes to 9. More voice notes.
Good morning, Kidaki. You know, I want to show you a little.
Call it live.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning, everyone in the diaspora. Good morning, all Guyanese. I wasn't able to listen to the early part of this show, so I might have missed, I know I have missed quite a bit. So if I comment about something which was already said, and please excuse me. I just heard you say, though, that we are continuing to support TACUMA OGUNSEYE, and we're continuing with this impeachment drive. Good. I'm elated to hear that we are continuing with those two things, and they're not going to get swept under the rug like mucker. Because far too long, every week, social media on the whole, 7 days, and it's a new story. I heard you said a few weeks ago, we got them just where we want them. So I hope that this is the point whereby we take the fight to the PPP and we don't relent until they're gone out of office. Now, in my opinion, I think, and that's my opinion, that we should at least, as social media participators, the people who call in, the people who watch these different shows, we should at least ask former President Granger if he believes, if he is supportive of impeachment of this government, of the PPP's government. There's a reason why. Because he says that he's not for protest. Okay, fine. So let's see if former President Granger is for impeachment of this government. And I think Mark Benchop should put the question to him, being that Mark Benchop always has him on the show. And I think other shows should at least bring it to this notoriety. Because President Granger, he is still officially the head of the list. And he is the one who has to submit Comrade Norton's name. If David Granger didn't submit Norton's name, Comrade Norton would not be on this slate. We should also ask Comrade Norton if he is in favor. Since we are in favor, and Comrade Norton says he's working for us, and we are saying that we want the president impeached, then it should be Comrade Norton's mission to fulfill what we are asking on this. Comrade Norton says he doesn't really want to get into protest either. Okay, fine. Well, then Comrade Norton should be happy to facilitate this agenda. We need to start asking Comrade Norton on that, because he is the head of anything that the opposition does on the floor of Parliament. Do what we have to do. But since Comrade Norton says that he is going around the country supporting this cause, indictable in a crime. Let's take the Vice News crime, the Vice News situation. In a crime of a conspiracy to defraud, we saw Jack Dale on Vice News attempting to defraud. Now, what does it take to defraud? What does it take to facilitate a crime? It takes a person who facilitates the crime, like the Chinese company that came in with Vice News. The Chinese man made an offer to provide a bribe. And a bribe is to defraud the government. It is to deceive and to be deceptive. To deprive GRA, Guyana Revenue Authority, of tax monies coming to the government. Because that's monies. And Jack Deal, by accepting that bribe, will be taking that money under the table. So that's circumventing GRA's law. So those are tax laws. So what does it take to facilitate a crime? A person to offer the bribe, and on the other hand, a person to receive the bribe. The question is, did Jack Deal says he will receive the bribe? We have to answer that for ourselves. Now, on the video, he says, yes, he'll receive it, but Sue will facilitate those matters. So now we have a third party facilitating the furtherance of a crime. Sue was the one supposed to facilitate that. And Jack Deal said, Jack Deal, will take care of the rest on the government side. Crime completed. Crime completed. One who offered the bribe, and Jack Deal on the other hand, who facilitated the crime to its completion, and also engineered a way through which it can be done. He engineered it by saying, work with Sue. Okay? Now, And that arrangement was done to benefit Jack Deal. Because the offer was made to Jack Deal, and Jack Deal facilitated a way how the crime can be facilitated and completed. That's the completion of a crime. Now, about the monies, we don't need the monies. You see, monies is just additional. What is a crime? A crime is when one person conspires with another person to deceive the government, to defraud the government. And that is what we saw on the video. So for politicians and fancy lawyers who are trying to tell the people, well, the monies never happened. We don't need the monies. The crime was consummated, was conceived, and completed on video. Now, as much as we love to support Comrade Norton says he wants to debate Jack Deal. He keeps asking about that. He wants to debate Mr. Jack Deal. Do all the debating in court. Okay? So this thing about Jack Deal is a fraud, okay, fine. He is a fraud. But let's take it to the court. I don't understand how you want to debate Mr. Jack Deal, but you don't want to take him to court. And you're telling us that as our supporters, as your supporters. So this kind of condescending nonsense has got to stop with politicians talking to us like we are bloody idiots. I am saying this the way I'm saying it because I want people to stop taking us for dunces and claim that they're representing us by condescending nonsense to us and calling that good representation of the people. That's got to stop. That is just as bad as the PPP locking up TACUMA, OGUNSEYE, and Robin Simpson for nonsense, for simply freedom of speech. This kind of confounded nonsense has to stop. And we've got to start focusing on it whenever we see it. Jack Deal and the PPP are full of it, and Comrade Norton has been practicing more of the same. So we're going to want to see if he really stands where he says he stands. We support Comrade Norton, but we're not supporting nonsense. That's what I'm saying. So understand the distinction. Mr. Kadaki said we got to hug up our frog. So we're going to hug up our frog. But we want accountability to be done in an accountable way and in a transparent way, in a meaningful way.
Thank you, Coffee.
A way that can bring results. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for calling. It's 6 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. I will not be taking more calls. I have some voice notes to play.
Morning, Samson. Morning, Samson. Morning. Samson. Morning. You have to play this video. Let the people let me see what is in your mind is telling the Guyanese, Indians, and the Afro-Guyanese. Yeah, Mr. Amsterdam, good morning. That's a very good point, Flashguard, to make, okay? You have 500 and something viewers and listeners right now on Facebook. And if everybody send this thing around, I guess they're gonna share all over. I always put it up. I send it to you. I guess you saw it before, but I did send it to you the other day when you put it up, right? But that's the thing we need to do. Start sharing this thing to those same those ambassadors pages and all these diplomatic pages where we have access to. That's what we need to do for you. That's a good call he making there, okay?
At 5 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour, you tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm your host, the Buxtonian, Kidaki, Amsterdam.
Good morning, Kidaki. Keep the good works up. These people who work in these 10 days work, a lot of them feeling the pressure. They're crying out because when they're supposed to get their money, they don't get their money. Up to now, a set of people and get their money for this for last month. And right now, the people been walking, they're going to sit down there waiting for their money, and then get no money.
So not only are they giving starvation wages, they're being starved to get it. Okay, all of the voice notes have been played. It's now 4 minutes to 9. I'll take one last call. Who's that lucky person? Remember, the 3rd anniversary of Kams TV is going to be held on the 15th with the 3-course dinner and dance. You're asked to support the thing. The cost is $10,000 per table. Well, not per table, $10,000 for dinner and beverages are inclusive. You have a live band and so on and so forth. Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, Kadaki. John Thompson here. Did you see, I sure you saw the video that went viral this morning with the Indian gentleman talking about the victimization and how Guyanese is scared of the government?
Yes, I saw it.
All right. Well, if you guys go to my page, you'll see I talked about that. Now, I hope this will break the deadlock with what's going on in Guyana. I am thinking that Indo-Guyanese are also scared, and that's why they're being silent. They're being silent right now. I was thinking they don't really care because they're not being affected, but I had to take that back. I think after listening to this guy and analyzing it, I am thinking Indo-Guyanese are just scared of their own government also. I think we're all scared. And that's something that and it's a vexing problem. They're terrorizing all of us. We're all in one barrel and they're scaring the population, right? How are we going to get this ended? How will this stop? It's a vexing problem. Now, I did a video. I hope you guys go and look at it. And they're using the Guyanese critic to divide us. I'm going to keep calling his name because they're using him to continue with this division. But the more Indo-Guyanese come out and speak, I think we will get the change that we're looking for. I think it has to be a unity thing. I don't think Afro-Guyanese alone can do it. Divided we fall, united we will stand. And I think the more Indo-Guyanese start speaking out, we will see the change. So we got to start talking to our brothers, our Indo-Guyanese. We have to reach out. Put pride aside, guys. We have to talk to Indo-Guyanese. As a population, we can end it together. And they will stop the intimidation and the victimization. All right? That's my piece for today. You guys go to John Thompson's page and look at what I posted. I did my live for the first time, so I will continue. All right? Later. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap. It's 9 o'clock. And so I'll take my leave of you. Thank you for
Sorry
sorry, Kadaki. I was calling. Sorry. I wanted to contact the person with the apartment. Sorry.
Okay. Yes, I'm saying, what am I saying? That's a wrap. Time is up. So we'll talk tomorrow morning. Join Dr. Hines this evening for another program of Politics 101. And I'll see you tomorrow on the other side when we do Guyanese Morning Time once more. Remember, on the 15th of July, it's the 3rd anniversary of Kams Tv. It's also my 50th year. And so we're celebrating the two together. You have a live band and you have table specials and it's a 3-course dinner. And the admission is easy. Small things, right? Small things. You can start ordering your tickets now because they're out. Reserve your tables and so on and so forth because, of course, the numbers are going to be limited. Have a good day. Have a good day.